interest, then they're ordered. If there is not consensus, then it becomes an evidentiary hearing, and I hear from all the players who want to have input so that a good decision can be made. So that's done before they come to court. So it's an out-of-court proceeding without the judge.
People involved individually in your system, you have found that the community as a whole responded, correct?
Very much so, because as we involve people in the court process and in the model court initiatives, the advisory committee, they came through with other initiatives and other planning strategies. But it had an after effect in that more people were interested in becoming foster or adoptive families, in becoming CASAs, in becoming involved in the therapeutic process of the case. And so that as we became known for our successes, individuals in the community were very interested in supporting the effort in whatever way possible. We involve school teachers quite a bit in our cases, and so we've come to a clear understanding of what our kids' educational needs are. And as a result, we have had a grant for our community, for our foster kids, that's implemented by Advocacy Incorporated, that represents children with disabilities. And this attorney that you saw in the film, Linda, represents children in court or in special education meetings at the schools, in ARDs, or in Medicaid appeals, so that our special needs kids have an extra layer of legal advocacy in their mission to have excellence while they're in protective custody.
So many layers to your program, and we have a...
Can I jump in? Oh, you have a call?
Oh, we do have a call, but we hold that thought.
I just wanted that unfolded into even more advocacy on behalf of the children with your Children's Justice Project.
Yes.
That came about with pro bono representation of kids in the court that may not have happened without the community level excitement around the project.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to talk more about that pro bono involvement
yes.
in a moment, too. We do have a call from Wyoming. Thank you for waiting. Please go ahead with your question or your comment.
I have a twofold question. I was wondering, for a foster family to be an assessment home, is there special qualifications or assessment tools that you use to qualify them as that?
Yes. You want to go ahead and answer?
Yes. Our assessment foster homes go through a special 40-hour training in addition to the regular foster certification. And in that training, they're trained to do observation of the children as they come in, to document that observation, to meet with the therapeutic professionals that are assessing the children.
I have a twofold question. I was wondering, for a foster family to be an assessment home, is there special qualifications or assessment tools that you use to qualify them as that?
Yes. You want to go ahead and answer?
Yes. Our assessment foster homes go through a special 40-hour training in addition to the regular foster certification. And in that training, they're trained to do observation of the children as they come in, to document that observation, to meet with the therapeutic professionals that are assessing the children. In fact, the children are assessed in the assessment foster home so they can have a more natural environment. And then the assessment foster parents are team members in making recommendations for the child's case plan. So they have a very special role, an extra nurturing role while the kids are in the assessment home, and then they act as team members in drafting the case plan and the reunification with the parents.
Thank you. Wyoming, are you still there? Okay, Wyoming had a two-part question, but perhaps they'll call back with the second part of that question. Let's go down to a call from New York. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I also have a two-part question. My name is Chris Larkin. I'm calling from Child Protective Services. The question is, do you review each case that involves a child protective placement with the team that we just saw? That's question one. And then the second part of it is, does the team give the recommendation to the judge before or after an adjudication?
The treatment team, by practice, meets before the court hearing actually takes place. So we have treatment hearings where those treatment team recommendations are brought to the court. If there is consensus to the array of services or the case plan for the child or the family, then I review them, and if they're each in the child's best interest, then they're ordered. If there is not consensus, then it becomes an evidentiary hearing, and I hear from all the players who want to have input so that a good decision can be made. So that's done before they come to court. So it's an out-of-court proceeding without the judge. And the second part question
was, do you make the recommendation to the judge, is it made before or after adjudication?
We hold adjudications within 14 days of protective custody. So the meetings are held usually before adjudication, and if the child is ordered into foster care, then I have a treatment hearing.
We have a call now from Missouri. Please go ahead with your question or your comment.
Now, this question is from Shirley McClintock. How do you encourage families to become foster families and then participate with the court process?
Well, the recruitment effort is done by the department, and they do an excellent job. But our recruitment is also done by families who are already foster families or adoptive families. For example, this summer in El Paso, we held a celebration at the zoo where we invited about 600 families who were either adoptive families or were interested in adopting to come and talk to each other. How did we get the families to come to court, the foster families? By invitation and requirement and participation. So when foster families come into court, they testify, and because they're the families that know the most about the children, they give us the most information. So now it's just part of our system that foster parents are required and they come.
And I think we see that in a lot of different ways. When you invite someone to participate in something and they really can participate, they will come back.
Shay, when we were speaking earlier prior to the broadcast, you were talking about measurements for success and how important it is that a program put in some measures for evaluation and progress. In your program, Judge Macias, you have a number of measures, do you not, that you use?
We looked at the number of months that it was taking to achieve a permanent home for a child. And we began about 3 or 4 years ago with kids staying in foster care almost 3 years. And now, as a result of all the initiatives, all working together, our kids are in permanent homes within about 7 months, maybe 7.5 months from the time they come into foster care. And so I think this is an incredible achievement in making sure that kids don't stay in foster care longer than necessary. We've also been able to achieve this because when children move from an assessment home into another home, it's into a foster adopt home. And as part of concurrent planning, this foster family commits to assist in the reunification process with the biological family. And if that's not the permanency plan, if the biological parents can't reunify, then that foster adopt family is committed to adoption.
We want to encourage you to continue calling in with your questions and comments, 1-800-895-4584. We have a call from Louisiana. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Hello. Go ahead with your question.
Yes, my question is, with these meetings, do you have the meetings for each child as they come into care, or do you discuss several children at one time? And if that's the case, how often do you meet?
The treatment team meetings are held for every case, for each case, and for each child. We had the film clip that you saw was a sibling group of 10, and so that treatment team meeting was very complex. And so it's held for each case, and it's held before the 14-day hearing.
We have a call now from West Virginia. Please go ahead with your question or your comment.
Yes, the question is, what additional benefit to the case do you see by having foster parents reporting court in addition to the caseworker?
We believe that the foster parent knows most about the child on a day-to-day basis, and so because of that knowledge, it's very important to have that reported to the court. The caseworker is really a partner in our jurisdiction. A partner with the foster parent, with the CASA, with the attorneys for the child, the attorneys for the parents. And so the foster parent plays a pivotal role in bringing that information to light, because that foster parent has been with the child at doctor's appointments, at teacher appointments. Every aspect of the child's life is what the foster parent is knowledgeable about.
And the feedback from the foster parent and others involved with the family is critical to the success of this initiative, is it not?
It is.
Mindy, can I add a new point? Because I think what we're going to find in today's broadcast is a lot of good things happening in the 3 different court systems that we're going to look at. And there's some common denominators across all of them. But each one of them does something a little bit different, a little bit unique. And one of the things I want to make sure we don't miss out on is to talk about the video conferencing that you've adopted in your jurisdiction, because it is somewhat unique and provides an opportunity for the children to be there in many situations in many other jurisdictions when they couldn't. So if you maybe could talk a little about that, I'd love to hear more, as I think the audience would.
In El Paso, we don't have facilities for residential treatment for children. And when our children need that high level of care, we were forced to send them outside of El Paso County. And so it was very difficult to review a child's case without having the child present, because the kids do come to court in El Paso. And also very difficult to talk about the therapeutic plan for the child without being able to cross-examine the therapist and to get the information from the therapist. With the help of our Court of Appeals, who had installed a video conferencing equipment to hear those cases, we were able to connect with sites all over Texas where we had children and have regular court hearings via teleconference. And we received a grant last year from the Children's Justice Act to have our own equipment in the courtroom. And this method of reviewing cases has proven to be extraordinarily important for all of us, not just the kids. The kids enjoy it immensely, and they want to be seen, and they want to see us, and it makes them feel connected to their home community. And we appreciate it because we're able to find out exactly what's going on in residential treatment. And if it's not going on the way we think it should be going on, then it's a time to address it.
We have a call now from Indiana. Please go ahead. Thank you for waiting.
Yes, in El Paso, what is the data on children returned to their biological parents?
For cases that were filed in 1998, we had about a 54% reunification rate. We received a statistic lately from our state Child Protective Services office that told us that our recidivism rate last year was so that children are reunified with their biological families, they're staying together. And I think that's a result of the hard work during the case, the teamwork, the good neighborhood and community support systems for the family, and then the follow-up after reunification. And as practice, when a family is reunified, we follow the case for an extra 3 months, and then we celebrate. And we actually do that in the courtroom. We celebrate, we take pictures, we congratulate the family for having rehabilitated and taking on their family once again.
It's a phenomenal statistic. If you heard a large noise, it was 30,000 people falling out of their chairs at that zero recidivism rate. It's phenomenal.
Let's go to a call now from Arizona. Thank you for calling in. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Angela Ogilvie, and I'm calling to find out how you would effectively service a parent who is involved in a dependency action, who is a Mexican national living in Mexico, who is evading trying to be served.
Of course, this is something you deal with because you're into the interjurisdictional area because of where you are.
Right. We sit right on the border. And so our families live on both sides of the U.S. and Mexican border. And to us, the border is seamless. Families are seamless. In that sense, we work very closely with the Child Protection Agency in